On Christmas night in 1996, the Ramsey family's idyllic Boulder, Colorado home became the epicenter of one of the most infamous and perplexing mysteries in true crime history. 6-year-old beauty queen JonBenét Ramsey was found murdered in her own home, setting off a media frenzy and a decades-long search for answers. Was it an intruder? Was it someone within the family? Or was it something else entirely? Today on Tales on the Couch, we'll highlight JonBenét's tragic story, the shocking details of her death, the theories that have emerged over the years, and the groundbreaking advancements in DNA evidence that could finally crack the case. This is the story of JonBenét Ramsey, a case that refuses to fade into the past. And if you want an in-depth analysis on the case, listen to Murdered JonBenét Ramsey by Crime Junkie, hosted by Ashley Flowers and Britt Prawat, who I absolutely adore. They dive into the tragic murder and provide a comprehensive overview of the case, including details of the ransom note, the discovery of JonBenét's body, and the subsequent investigation. But if you want the story summed up, that's what I'm here for. Just the facts in less than 10 minutes. So get cozy on the couch and let's jump in. The story begins on the morning of December 26, 1996. JonBenét Ramsey, a 6-year-old beauty pageant contestant, was reported missing from her family's Boulder, Colorado home. Patsy Ramsey, her mother, made a frantic 911 call after discovering a handwritten ransom note demanding $118,000, an oddly specific amount that matched her husband John's recent work bonus. Hours later, the tragedy deepened when JonBenét's father, John Ramsey, discovered her lifeless body in the family's basement. She'd been strangled and suffered a head injury. From the outset, the case was chaotic. Police failed to secure the scene, and family and friends were allowed into the home, potentially contaminating evidence. This initial mishandling would haunt the investigation for years, casting doubt on the conclusions drawn from the crime scene. Was it an intruder who carried out a well-planned abduction? Or was something more sinister unfolding within the Ramsey household? The investigation quickly turned its focus on JonBenét's parents, John and Patsy Ramsey, and her older brother, Burke. The Ramsey family maintained their innocence, but the media and public opinion were ruthless, painting them as likely culprits. The unusual ransom note, written on Patsy's stationery and unusually lengthy for such a demand, raised suspicions. Imagine being a grieving parent and finding yourself both a victim and a suspect. John and Patsy Ramsey's lives were turned upside down. The media's relentless coverage painted them as guilty in the court of public opinion, even as they were ruled out as suspects. Simultaneously, the theory of an intruder gained traction. A broken window and an unidentified shoe print in the basement pointed to the possibility of someone outside the family entering the home. However, with conflicting evidence and public pressure mounting, the case quickly grew cold. Over the years, JonBenét's case spawned countless theories. Some believed it was a botched kidnapping attempt by an outsider, potentially a disgruntled worker or someone obsessed with JonBenét's public image as a beauty queen. Others speculated that a family member was responsible, possibly in a moment of anger or as an accident covered up to avoid scandal. One of the most controversial theories involved JonBenét's brother, Burke Ramsey. A television special in 2016 reignited interest in this idea, leading to defamation lawsuits from Burke and the Ramsey family. Meanwhile, the case also drew the attention of conspiracy theorists, with some positing bizarre connections to larger criminal networks or even cult activity. Despite these developments, no new suspect has been officially named by law enforcement. The Boulder Police Department continues to investigate the case, emphasizing their commitment to solving JonBenét's murder. Advancements in DNA technology and renewed public interest have rekindled hope for a resolution to this decades-old mystery. Despite decades of speculation, advancements in forensic science have brought new hope to the case. In 2008, the Ramsey family was officially cleared by prosecutors after DNA evidence found on JonBenét's clothing indicated the presence of an unknown male. This suggested an intruder might be responsible. And earlier this year, in November, John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, received a letter from a woman alleging that her ex-husband was responsible for the crime. This claim has not yet been substantiated, and further contact with the woman has been unsuccessful. Additionally, John Ramsey has disclosed that over 20 years ago, a man using the alias David Cooper confessed to being a hired killer responsible for JonBenét's death. Cooper provided specific details about the Ramsey home, including the presence of a red model airplane on John's desk, information not publicly known. Despite this, the Boulder Police Department reportedly showed little interest in pursuing this lead at the time. Another individual, Gary Oliva, a convicted sex offender, has been linked to the case. Oliva was arrested in 2016 after being found with numerous images related to JonBenét. He has previously confessed to her murder, but his DNA did not match evidence from the crime scene. As of November 2024, Oliva has reportedly failed to check in with authorities, violating his parole, and his current whereabouts are unknown. The Ramsey family's tragedy didn't end with JonBenét's death. Patsy Ramsey, JonBenét's mother, passed away in 2006 after a long battle with ovarian cancer. She died without ever seeing justice for her daughter. John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, continues to advocate for the case, keeping her memory alive while enduring years of scrutiny and heartbreak. JonBenét's older brother, Burke Ramsey, who was just 9 years old at the time of her death, has also lived under the shadow of suspicion and media attention. Despite this, he has largely kept a low profile, attempting to rebuild a semblance of a normal life. Today, the case of JonBenét Ramsey remains officially unsolved, but it is far from forgotten. The Ramsey family continues to advocate for further investigation, and true crime enthusiasts worldwide remain captivated by the mystery. The legacy of JonBenét's tragic story has also prompted changes in how high-profile murder cases are handled, particularly regarding crime scene management and media involvement. As DNA technology continues to evolve, there is growing hope that answers could finally be within reach. Forensic genealogy could identify suspects or exclude potential perpetrators, but until then, JonBenét's story remains an enduring symbol of the unanswered questions that haunt the justice system. JonBenét Ramsey's death has left a scar not only on her family but also on an entire generation captivated by her story. As technology advances and new evidence emerges, perhaps one day we will finally learn the truth about what happened that night. What do you think? Was it an intruder, a tragic accident, or something else entirely? Well, our time is up for today's episode. Thanks for listening to Tales on the Couch. Don't forget my other podcasts, The Wisdom of Sex, which is all about relationships, and Whispers of the White House, which is where I discuss all things politics, past, present, and future. And of course, don't forget to rate, review, and share with your fellow true crime fans. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, stay informed, and be wise.